I mean, wicked can just be more than just a word, a descriptor word. Like it can be an
An
actual
adjective.
noun.
Barding. Ah.
These
I don't know
things.
any of these things besides
How
Bree's
do you
hockey
how do you
journey.
We got our first hater the other day.
shout out to my dad?
That made me mad. Now I'm triggered.
Oh, and god damn it. What a pro wants. What a pro wants. Folks, welcome. Episode 60, Bread Loves Hockey Podcast. We've got Ryan joining us again on an episode that is a multiple of 10. That's like the third or fourth time. That's pretty fun.
Fun stat.
Told you the pattern would come back.
Yeah.
Lots of buzz right now. Do you guys know how many numbers away from the start of the regular season? Anybody?
Regular season.
Off the top of your head?
I don't even know what day it is. Oh, it's 18th. It says right there. 19. All right.
16. Pretty close. Not that I'm counting or anything.
Well, because it's the 4th? That is
the 4th, yeah.
I was thinking the 7th, but that's for North America, right?
The 8th is the North America start date.
Okay. So the 4th is the big day.
Yep. Sabres and Devils in Czechia. So, yeah, looking forward to that. But right now we've got Media Day, I think was today, or maybe it was yesterday. It's probably spread out over a couple of days where, they get all the promotional material and the graphics and things going, have a lot of fun, get some hype up for the season. I'm sure it's a lot for the players, like especially the ones that really just don't like that sort of stuff. It must be not their favorite day.
Well, Elliot just did a interview with Connor Bedard, and Bedard was talking about how he's like, yeah, it's kind of nice this year to not have to deal with like as much of that media stuff. Like his first year, obviously, we talked about it last year how much coverage there was for him and like, talk about him. So he was like, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of been kind of nice to like not have to deal with as much of that. So like, I'm sure if you're a rookie coming into the league for the first time, like you just want to get out on the ice and play hockey. You don't want to like as an 18-year-old have to deal with media and like saying the right thing in front of cameras and all that stuff.
You have like all this pressure right off the gate, and like what you're there to do is play hockey, and
yeah,
then you have all this other stuff before you get to play hockey.
Mm-hmm.
I bet Bedard's gonna go crazy this year. Like his numbers are gonna explode. I think it's just all seeming like that. I guess some recent reports have been that he's also like bulking up a little bit, and some report that he just like looks in like the best shape that he's ever been in. So
Plus, I mean, the Blackhawks can't be that much worse, right? Like,
I think there's a lot of expectations for the team to be a lot like better, not playoffs better, but like they're not gonna lose that many games this year. Hopefully, they had a lot more injury issues last year too, so hopefully they're coming into the year a bit healthier. They've got some new faces and stuff. So, and they just recently, we're jumping around a little bit, but Nick Foligno was just recently named the captain of the team. So,
good choice.
I think that's good. He's been a captain before. And
leader.
He's definitely a good leader. Yeah, Dean has obviously seen him on his team before, so you liked him in his brief time there.
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously older, and like he was dealing with, coming from Toronto, he was dealing with, I think, back injury, or probably back. I don't know, back or hip, or one of those things that starts just going as you age. So he was kind of like, he wasn't in the lineup the whole time, but like, he's just a guy you want to keep around for that locker room presence.
Yeah. And it seems like he really enjoys being there. Like he had a pretty good season last year, despite knowing that he was pretty much one of the only halfway decent players on the the opening day roster. So that's good, especially for a rebuilding franchise that has some negative history as of late. So it's kind of looking good for Chicago, and good for our buddy Trevor.
I guess while we're talking about captains, we can mention that Hedman is named the new captain of the Lightning, which I guess with Stamkos leaving, it's not really a surprise. Like, you could argue him or Kucherov, right? I guess would be like the debate. But it's like Hedman's been there longer. He seems just kind of like a leader type. I mean, I don't know him that well. He just looks like a leader, you know?
Yeah, sometimes you just get the vibe.
Yeah.
I feel like Lightning fans were kind of expecting him to be the next guy because of his tenure, and I don't know. I feel like something about defenseman being captain also is like, I don't know. It just seems like something that they would do.
He's been on the team since 2009.
Yeah, that's a bit.
I mean, Kucherov's been there since 2013, so it's like, I guess 4 years is a decent amount, but when you're talking over a decade for both, it's like, But,
What I don't think there would have been necessarily a bad choice.
but I do think Hedman is the right choice.
Yeah, so that's
Kucherov was
good.
drafted in the second round,
Really,
58th overall,
I actually didn't know that.
right? Because he's Russian.
Yeah, it's that's definitely
Well,
happened before.
even like in the last few years, it's like, well, you don't know if they're gonna just go play in the KHL or things like that. Like with Michkov, they talked about where he might drop, things like that. So
Yeah, he
probably
dropped to
was the same
6.
thing. Yeah.
Like he could have been first or second overall probably in that draft. So
Hmm.
yeah, that happens, and it's been getting a little bit easier for some teams. I know like the Flyers have put in a lot of work to build a relationship with Russian ties and agents, and probably the KHL as well. So that's like really beneficial. But I think some other teams have not had the same luck necessarily, and yeah, it's always
Yeah.
kind of tough to tell,
But
especially
they
if you
don't want to take
sign.
the risk.
Yeah, it is riskier, but if you love the upside, you might be a team that, like, especially if they fall to you, it's like,
Yeah.
take a chance.
True.
We'll see how that shakes out with some of these young guys like Demidov and Michkov, in the next 5 or so years. I think Michkov is going to play with the Flyers this season. He's definitely been at camp, and apparently he looked pretty good. I think he tried a Michigan during one of the uh, practices, and like all the other coaches were laughing at Tortorella, which was pretty good. Like, oh boy, how's he gonna react if Michkov pulls off something like that? That'd be pretty funny. But yeah, training camp starting, and we just had the rookie tournaments as well, which I watched a little bit of them for Vegas. Vegas did end up going 3-0, so that's fun. Usually doesn't mean a whole lot, but it's going to be a younger team for Vegas this year than we've seen over like the last 3 or 4 seasons. So they might need to plug in some of these young guys a little bit quicker than they would have initially anticipated if they start having injuries. So I guess it's kind of promising. I know you guys didn't really watch any of yours, but you kind of got the highlights.
Yeah, every year I'm like, oh, I'll watch this, and then well, two of them were like during the work day, and then
Yeah.
there was one on the weekend, and I was like, eh. But the Bruins went 1-1-1, which isn't, I guess, too surprising because for the last like 5 years they've been in the bottom couple spots for as far as prospects go.
Yeah.
Problem with winning so much, I guess. Um, but actually this year they were 28th, which is the highest they've been in a while.
Wow.
Yeah, but yeah, our prospects have never been our highlight. So yeah, like you said, probably doesn't mean much. Most of them aren't gonna play. I think Lee Sell didn't even play in this. Because he was like, I assume the coaching staff was like, yeah, like you're past this. Like we don't need you to play in this.
Yeah.
He's like I mentioned before, he's gonna almost certainly play a good amount this year for the Bruins. So we have a couple people like that, and then like obviously like Patra, who played last year, like he's not going to be in this either. So we have those guys that have kind of come up, Lorai as well, but
Yeah.
like the guys below that, Yeah, who knows?
I haven't heard about any of those guys and that probably were playing there, except for maybe the guy they drafted in the 5th round. What is that, like Davidson or something you were saying?
Oh,
John something, I don't know.
I forget his
Yeah,
name too. The guy who committed to Clarkson and decommitted
then
to
decommitted,
Wisconsin.
yeah. To Boston University, I think he was going
Yeah,
instead, which are like, okay. I get it. It's too bad.
Jonathan Morello.
Morello. Yeah. I was thinking Morel something because I was thinking of Mason Morelli. I was like, am I getting those mixed
Hmm.
up? But
Yeah.
huh,
Close.
guess it was partially in there. That's fun. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Clarkson's season 2 a little bit, but
Yeah. I'm gonna
You
try
want
to go to a
to?
game.
I think so too.
I won't probably.
It's gonna be tougher for you. A lot
One of
tougher.
these years, I feel like we'll have to go back to like gold out, like get everyone to go,
Yeah, that would be
Hmm.
fun.
like our 20th or 10th or something.
Yeah.
Yes,
2029.
there you go. Sounds fun.
Yeah.
Pencil me in.
Okay. Mark your calendar.
Not pen, just pencil. I still want the opportunity to erase.
Yeah. Maybe we'll have a
Yeah.
wedding before then.
Maybe. Sounds fun. But yeah, I'll probably catch some games locally. Like go to an RPI game or a Union game or something like that, and then maybe go up north.
Yeah, I think the last game I went to was at Cornell,
Oh,
which isn't too
Cornell.
far from where I live. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
haven't been to Cornell.
yeah, it was a tighter stadium than what we had, and one of the walls like didn't even have any stands. It was just like a vertical wall.
Yeah, RPI has something like that too, which is really like I cannot stand their arena. Like the design of it
Mm.
is just terrible, and like they're literally the RPI engineers, so it's pretty
Stupid
brutal.
mascot.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. It's just I just don't get it. But I would like to check out some of the other barns. I've heard St. Lawrence is actually pretty good. I never went to a game inside it. Like we kind of went in the vestibule for that one game when
We saw the locker
it
rooms.
was sold out. Yeah, we went around the door. There was like a door to the locker rooms and like the basement of it essentially, and we didn't end up going in. We were like, could we just like walk in and then try to find some like nosebleed seats and. But,
Next thing you know, you're on the ice.
yeah, exactly. Like, hey, get it. We got 5 minutes here. Like, skate up. We're like, oh boy. Turns into a comedy sitcom or comedy like movie from the 80s or something.
They put you in goal
Yeah, exactly.
As long as for
for
St.
warm
Lawrence.
ups when they're shooting like
Yeah,
there's like
you're right, Dean.
100 pucks out there and
Yeah, they're all peppering you, and then you get some slow mo shots. It's too bad we didn't do it. But yeah, I want to check out some other NHL arenas this year. We've already touched on that. We're gonna be going to a couple games in March. We're gonna be going to Toronto and Detroit, and we're also gonna be going to a Sabres game, the
yeah.
same day as the Toronto game. So that's gonna be really
So
fun.
3 in 2 days.
It's
That's
like a
crazy for
dream.
NHL games
Yeah.
in one day.
I think we
3 in
can
one
do it.
day.
The
Oh, 2 in one
timing
day.
Yeah,
looks like
2.
it's gonna work. So
Yeah, that sounds awesome. And Sandroni's got some pretty good seats. I think we showed a picture at one
Mm.
point of
Yeah.
him in his seat. I like barely found him on like the edge of the
Mm.
the
They're
one of
like
the
right
shots.
above the Sabres tunnel, so you can look and like Thompson's tall enough you can look him into the eye. You give him a nod or like a
Yeah. A disapproving
more
look.
likely a disapproving look.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like
But
6'6".
yeah,
Big fella.
yep.
Um Sandroni, any thoughts on the Sabres rookie camp or tournament
I,
rather?
I didn't see it, but I mean, I saw some articles, some headlines, and apparently Yuri Kaluch is blowing the doors off was one of the headlines. So
That's a
so
pretty good
I
headline.
guess you're gonna have to look out for him, uh, seeing if he gets any play time in the regular season or if they just send him to the Amerks.
That's yeah, at least probably to
Yeah,
start the season. That's what'll
it's a
happen.
really
But you never know.
development. I mean, we got a lot of prospects on the Sabres, so you know how that is.
Yeah, a lot of magic beans, and you hope one of them will grow into a beanstalk. Actually, you hope like 3 or 4 of them will, but it doesn't
Hmm.
always happen. It hasn't always happened for the Sabres, unfortunately. But they have recently signed Peyton Krebs to a 2-year deal, 1.45 million
Hmm.
per. How have you felt about him since he's come over in the Eichel
Yeah,
trade?
I like that deal. Yeah, I mean, you're not bound to them for long term, and it's not a lot of money, and they're going to be nowhere near the cap this year because they got rid of Skinner and they didn't really fill in anyone.
They didn't
So
spend like a lot of people thought that they probably
yeah.
would and probably should have.
So
Um,
either they were like told not to, or
right.
or like maybe they couldn't get anyone,
Yeah, it could be
or
like you're
it
offering the
could be
same money.
saving up for some kind of a deal
Yeah,
later on. But
it's
they're
too late for that.
none of those three are good options.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they probably lost out on a couple of guys who maybe just didn't want to go to Buffalo. Like
Hmm.
maybe it's the same money or even they offered like slightly more money, but it's like, I'd really rather play in another market. And so we've seen that with other teams a
Yeah.
little bit, with like Winnipeg, for example, and Columbus has kind of been like that. Um, but they did pick up James Van Riemsdyk. That was kind of like rumored, and they signed him for 900K 1 year. I think that's good. Obviously, another former Bruin, and
Mhm.
I
He
think
wasn't great though.
he's looked okay at times, and I think he is genuinely like interested in being here despite the recent tragedy. So it's like just good to get people that still want to have a good season and play for their fans and all that. So I like that move for Don Waddell.
Mhm.
We've got a couple other recent RFA signings and extensions. So Detroit gets a little busy with they finally lock up Lucas Raymond, who was one of the big RFAs, 8 years, 8.075 million. So that's I don't know around where we were thinking he was probably gonna go. So that's good to get that
Yeah,
locked up.
good contract.
I think it's gonna work out well ultimately. Is it gonna? I don't know if it'll blow me away with the value, but I think
It
he
could.
he he could. He's only 22, so it is like it is still early in his career to be honest.
I mean, the way I see it is like if he really like the chances of him sucking so much that an 8 million contract looks that bad is way less likely than him like playing well above an $8 million player.
So he's making a little bit less than Larkin, which like that's I think that was the rumor is like want him to not make as much as him. So
Hmm.
that's fine. They have right now another 8.7 million left in cap space to sign Moritz Seider, their other big RFA, who I guess was recently skating with his German team. But I wouldn't expect that means that he's not going to re-sign. I think he's just trying to get in shape in the event that he doesn't sign before training camp. Um, so I don't expect a holdout there for much longer. But that should pretty much push them up against the cap. I would think he'll probably eat a good amount of that, so they're probably done. But yeah, I'm sure that was good for some Red Wings fans to finally get something moving. It's always just a pain when you have to constantly be worrying about an RFA signing, right,
Sure
Dean?
is. Sure is. All right, I'll take that segue. So Swayman, Jeremy Swayman. Uh, Lots of news today. Well, more drama and less news, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So it started when Joe Haggerty this morning tweeted that Don Sweeney says he's disappointed Jeremy Swayman isn't signed and won't be on the ice tomorrow with the rest of the team, tomorrow being the 19th, Thursday. He certainly didn't sound like somebody that has an imminent deal with the RFA netminder. We only say he's optimistic they'll get him signed before December 1st. And December 1st is the day that if they don't sign before then he can't play the season. And then Biz came out. Let me find his tweet. Biz came out and said, hearing more information about the Swayman situation, and boy, oh boy, I can't wait for the next podcast. We've requested Sweeney, who would love to clear the air. So obviously, there's been a couple things that Biz, like the Mike Babcock thing. Biz broke that news and then doubled down on it. And him
Yeah.
doubling down, this is kind of scary, I guess, as a Bruins fan.
Yeah, I bet. Like, what does he have? Oh goodness.
Yeah, I don't know. And then Haggerty comes back and tweets that Don Sweeney clearly not happy about some of the reporting around the Swayman negotiations. Called the Spit and Chicklets podcast the Spitting Up on Yourself podcast, and said reports from
Got
them were
him.
bullshit, that he wasn't calling Swayman or his camp. And then also apparently one of the Boston radio stations, WEEI, said the deal was done, and then Sweeney was like, nope, 100% inaccurate. What else we got here?
Oh yeah, who's that? Courtney Cox was that? I saw it because everybody on the hockey subreddit was making the joke about it being the actress Courtney Cox who played Monica on Friends. They're like, why is she breaking Bruins news about Swayman? Obviously, it's not the same one, but thought that was funny. Anyways.
Yeah, I think the only other thing during Sweeney's press conference or whatever, he's like, yeah, it's BS. Somebody was saying that he wouldn't return a call for 3 weeks and all this stuff. It's it's getting all blown out of proportion now. Yeah, so you got Sweeney, and then you got Biz and Haggerty, just a bunch of these guys just stirring the pot.
That's, yeah.
Yeah, and
It's
then
getting tense.
The Boston Sports Journal then wrote a column about Don Sweeney going on the offensive.
Oh boy.
So we got all this news and no news at the same time. So,
that's a big market team for you, folks.
Yeah, not quite Toronto level, but I mean today it almost felt like that with just all the back and forth going on. So with all of that being said, still not signed, and we don't know. They're still far away. Doesn't sound like Sweeney's confident. Confident to get him signed soon, but hopefully he sounds confident to get him signed before December 1st.
December 1st. Oh, goodness.
Yeah, so I said last week, I'm like, I won't be worried until the start of the, October 8th or whatever, but now I'm a little worried.
Right.
If we go a couple months without him, that won't be great.
That will not be good. As much as I think there's some excitement for Brendan Bussey, is he ready to be an immediate backup and also backing up
Corpusal ready to be a starter?
Yeah, it's not a good recipe, I think, unless they have the goalie coach whisperer or something, and they just can find a way.
We have the best goalie coach, Coach Bob.
Yeah, I have heard good things about him, so maybe Coach Bob can work his magic 2 or 3 more times, and they'll be fine. But I don't know.
Bob Asenza.
There we go. Thanks, Bob.
Maybe we can have him on the pod.
Me too.
Another player that did get signed is Sidney Crosby to a shocking $8.7 million AAV for 2 years. We've sort of
Wow.
seen that coming. I think every single contract he's had has had 8-7 in it somewhere.
This is like
So,
his 16th contract with that. Yeah. It's pretty remarkable and definitely helps the team. Like, he's still performing way above an $8.7 million
he's like, all
player.
right, we'd like to give you 12 million. He's like, you make that 8.7.
Yeah, there's like a
That
bunch.
doesn't look right to me.
Yeah, a bunch of jokes about him like freaking out on Dubas if he doesn't get paid exactly 8.7
Yeah.
million.
Did you see the picture? Well, this was also before you were like following the sport, but do you remember? Do you remember? Or did you hear when Crosby had the mumps? Like, have you seen that picture with his face all swollen?
I'm not sure that I have actually.
It was back in like probably 2014, 2015.
Hmm.
Um, at first he like denies like I don't have the mumps. In this picture, his cheeks are just like we'll put up a picture. It's like all blown up, but there was someone comments like Crosby's reaction when they offer him 8.8 or something.
Yeah. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, so do you know what I should do at some point? I guess this would have been better for the off season, which we're slowly leaving, but like find old, not old, but like news articles from like the 2010s that were like really good that you probably haven't seen just because like you weren't following, but like we would have talked about for like weeks if
Yeah,
it
I
happened
bet.
now.
Well, that sounds kind of fun. Maybe next off season. Well, we still got a little time
Maybe.
left.
Like there was the one, and all right, this is the last one I'll tell you. Um, Yager, like this was probably I don't know, maybe 10 years ago. I have no 5 to 10 years ago. He like slept with some like 18 or 19-year-old model, and she took a picture of him like sleeping in the bed next to her, and said that she was gonna blackmail him if he didn't like give her money. He's like, I don't care. Post a picture.
That's funny.
Like he's not married or anything. Like he can sleep with
It's
whoever he
like,
wants. I'm like that's such a Yager move.
yeah, that's pretty funny. Something just happened like that with Shaq and some girl. I guess he denied that he was like with her or whatever, and she like kept posting proof, or I don't know. These things get all blown out of proportion.
Yeah, that picture, Sandroni.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
That's pretty good. Um, oh my goodness, yeah,
Mm.
that's pretty blatant.
He's like, I don't have the mom.
I don't know what you're talking about. Did you guys see the recent trend of having players sign old pictures of themselves
I
too?
did see that. Yeah.
There's some pretty good ones. And the PWHL players did that too. That was very entertaining. They had a kick out of that. I think one of the players just like ripped up the picture right away.
Yeah, I saw that. I haven't seen any NHL teams do it though.
Oh, you haven't? I know the Leafs did it recently, and I think
That's not
some like
surprising.
at the media day there were like various big stars that had it. Like I know McKinnon had one. Tavares, well, he was a Leaf as well. There were a couple other ones that had it that were pretty funny. I think
That's
maybe
fun.
Ovi. Um, but yeah, I like that kind of stuff because you don't always get the most like personality out of some of the NHL players compared to some of the other leagues. So it's fun to get like a little side of that. We had a couple other RFA signings recently. So Thomas Harley re-signs a 2-year deal at 4 million per. I think that's really good for the Stars. Like they have so many young guys that I feel like can just produce so well, and he's definitely gonna be one of them as well. Uh, so that's just really good for the team. They're gonna be like really strong again this year. They also signed Essa Lindell to an extension. I think 5-year deal, 5.525 per. That's pretty good. He's 30, so he might not be performing the best at the end of that contract, but I still think that's pretty good for the next like 2 or 3 years when they'll really need him to step up. So yeah, they're in top shape right now. How are you like? I feel like Dean is also pretty high on them. Although after last year, like I know you were a little apprehensive because of the hype around them. It's kind of like when a smaller market team suddenly gets a bunch of eyes on them for doing well, you kind of like, wait, I don't know if we're like ready for this kind of thing, more or less. All the
Yeah.
attention.
Honestly, I missed what team you were talking about because I was reading through the PTOs.
Oh, the Stars.
Yeah, yeah, I was higher on them earlier, and then everyone else got um like joined the not the bandwagon because I mean they were making the playoffs, but like not going far. But like started being, hey, this team's actually kind of good. And I'm like, oh, I'm out.
Yeah. Whoa, no, whoa.
Yeah,
So
but
you're selling your star stock
yeah,
there.
yeah, I was in
Yes.
there.
Sell high.
I was a founder. I'm selling high.
That's
Um,
well, we'll see in a couple years if that was smart or not. If they win the
yeah,
cup in the next couple seasons, which I had them in my prediction last year winning, and they did not do that. I haven't made my bracket yet for this year,
I
which
was gonna say
those are due in a couple days.
I did do my preseason bracket.
Oh,
Um, and I don't know if I followed. Well, I set the precedent for the form of how it's going to be typed of by not mascot names. By team
Nick
name as opposed to
nicknames.
the nickname. Yeah.
That's good because if
So I
you
had the
because two
Stars
New York
going
teams.
to the conference finals in my preseason bracket. So.
Okay. Yep.
So I
That's
still think they'll be good, but I don't have them as a cup winner. It has to be the Oilers because that's how it's going to work. Because Florida lost in the finals and then won, and then Oilers are going to do the same.
the pattern is starting.
Hmm.
Guess that could happen. We got another uh, repeat of a previous Stanley Cup final matchup. Dean has Oilers versus Hurricanes. Ooh, lots of game sevens. I like the sound of that.
Yeah, I was trying to find out what sweeps would be sweeps, and I was like, I don't. If a lot of these, I'm like, oh, this goaltender could steal a game. This one, they could go. So I have a couple fives. I think I did one sweep.
Yeah, so Dean, you have the Hurricanes versus the Oilers, repeat of a previous Cup final matchup, and then so you have the same conference finals as this past season for both of them. Oh,
Yeah, I didn't
actually
really
no,
think about that.
Hurricanes.
Or
No,
right,
Hurricanes
'cause
were
the
not in
Rangers.
because it would be Rangers. So yeah, not quite the same,
Yeah.
but pretty similar. I mean, can't say I blame you. There's always a little bit of recency bias. But do you want to just run through the rest of the matchups?
Yeah, well, I can just yeah, sure. So from the Atlantic, I have um, Panthers in the top seed, then the Leafs, then the Bruins, and then I have both the wild cards in the Atlantic with the Red Wings getting wild card 1 and Tampa getting wild card 2. And then in the Metro, we have Hurricanes, Rangers, Devils. So then the East, we got Hurricanes over Tampa, Rangers over the Devils, Panthers over the Red Wings, and then Bruins over the Leafs in 7, of course.
Has to
Um,
be
Panthers over the Bruins, also in 7. We're going to get them to 7 this year, or next year, technically.
this season.
Then Hurricanes over the Rangers, and then Hurricanes over the Panthers to go on to the final. And then in the
Finally.
West, finally. And then in the West, saying how I just wasn't as high on them anymore, the Stars winning the President's Trophy.
Naturally.
Naturally. And then we got the Avs in 2nd and the Preds in 3rd. And then we got the Oilers in 1st, Golden Knights in 2nd, Kings in 3rd, Jets wildcard 1, Canucks wildcard 2, Stars over the Canucks, Avs over the Preds, Oilers over the Jets, Knights over the Kings.
Yeah. Thanks, Dean.
Oilers over the Knights,
Oh, Dean.
Stars over the Avs, Oilers over the Stars in 7, and then our final is Oilers Hurricanes, Oilers in 6.
There you go.
I think I didn't need to say all that because we probably could put up a picture, but now I don't have to put up the picture for as long.
There we go. I think this is
Perfect.
a bracket that Owen wouldn't like. Yeah, perfect. Owen would definitely be upset with 5 Atlantic teams and none of them being the Ottawa Senators. So,
Or
Yeah.
like, Red Wings over at Sens, what are you doing? Like, ah.
And the wild
And
card
that they're
won.
wild card 1 too, yeah.
No Buffalo either.
No Buffalo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
They're chalking up the year.
Yeah.
Dean's right.
Unfortunately, this is correct. There's nothing I can do about it. It's just that's what it
Don't,
is.
don't don't need to watch this season. Dean tells it how it is.
Yeah.
You can watch the regular season, but you don't need to watch the
Yeah.
playoff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose. See if Buffalo beats Ottawa.
Yeah, there you go.
That
The
sounds
big
fun.
question that's not covered yet.
Mm.
Yeah, the race for the draft lottery. That's what you really watch the regular season for, right?
Oh yeah.
But I don't. I think you're the only one. I still have to mull over mine. I guess I'm pushing it out, but we'll see. We'll see who submits and who doesn't.
You're gonna
I
say
haven't
if you,
shared this
you're
with
gonna submit
everybody.
it on the last day, and you'll be the second person to submit.
Yeah, could be. We were also chatting about doing the hat trick challenge and the pass the cup challenge again this year. So looking forward to that. We're gonna have it a little bit more regimented, hopefully with a probably a tighter group because things got a little loosey goosey last season.
What's your over under of how many dollars get added to the pot for people who forget questions?
It really depends on how many people it is. Like, I think if Sam is still doing it, I would say you're definitely gonna put in a couple in there. Owen, honestly, too, because he had some slip ups last year. So I would think
I feel
like,
like you have the option to text the night before, or like the day before, say I can't do it tomorrow. Like that shouldn't be too hard to do, but we'll see.
yeah, but I think the problem was just not thinking about it. So it's like it
Yeah,
doesn't
you're like,
matter
oh
how many
yeah,
days.
because you like, oh, is today my day? It's like, yes, Owen, today is your day.
Yes, like especially when they ask whose it is, and it's like, if you have to ask, it might be you.
I'll set the over under at 7.5.
7. Yeah, honestly, I'd probably take the over. We'll
Well,
we'll
more
see
money
again
for
how
us.
many people commit to it because
It sounds like you
20
guys
bucks.
need a commissioner,
Yeah.
We
Well,
have
that's
a
what we're trying
banker.
a
Yeah.
banker.
Yeah.
Well, also last year we talked about we did like $10 each, and we did 20 for the pass the cup, and we're like, well, hat trick's way more effort. We should put more money into that. So we're doing
Yeah.
20 this year.
Yeah, and then there'll be a potential pot bonus if people don't do what they're supposed to on the
And I like
correct
the
days.
second place money back. That's nice.
Yeah, I like that too. I'm like, with how much
It makes
effort
sense.
potentially it is, like it would be nice to at least make my money back if I'm not too bad.
Yeah.
I probably won't. I'll probably get like fourth, but whatever. I never seem to be very good. Oh well.
This is your year. I feel like once you're like, if
Gambling.
you have a good start makes a big difference. I feel like
That's true.
if you get behind early, I feel like you start overthinking things.
I had like a decent hot streak at the beginning and then I went cold for like a month. That's usually what happens. Like I have like
Yeah.
20 days between hat tricks and then I'll get like 3 in a row or 3 in 5 days and then like, oh, another 2-week drought.
I remember I had that really hot start, but I'm the same way where it's like I'll have a few in a row and then not have like, but when I am on, I'll get like a few in a row. So it's kind of streaky both ways, but I'll have my cold streaks too.
Yeah. It's tough. We'll see how many wacky and weird questions people come up with this year. Always fun to exercise your creativity a little bit that way. But you do still have to be able to verify the answers to the questions. So
Yeah.
we'll make sure to bear that in mind. There were a couple last year, I think, probably some of the ones that Owen suggested that were like, okay, how the hell are we supposed to figure out, who was born in like
Dean's like,
February
will
or
Bennington have a
and
sissy
scored?
fit?
Oh yeah, it's like I'm
You
not
didn't
gonna
watch
watch that whole
Yeah.
game to find out. Yeah, that's pretty funny. Sandroni didn't do the hat trick challenge last year or the pass the cup.
Nope.
But we'll try to get him to submit a playoff bracket again this year because I think those are really the most fun and it's
I
passive.
can commit to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
No
a lot
idea
more
how I
doable.
did last year.
Actually, I think yours wasn't too bad, like compared to some
I
of the
had
other
the
teams.
Canucks in it.
You did have the
I
Canucks.
remember that.
There was like one other team I think you had that a lot of people didn't, but I can't remember. Maybe the Predators, maybe not. I don't know.
I don't think I had the Predators.
We could find out, I suppose, but
Not a big fan of yellow. I guess it is a Sabres color, but
it's an accent color.
it's an accent. It's not the feature.
Anytime they've used that as their primary color, it has not been good.
Yeah.
Even on like practice jerseys, I'm like, that's a lot. But I get it. But yeah, you're right. Probably you didn't pick the Preds then. That I could just tell that's your logic. Like, nope. Sorry, can't do
Don't
it.
like yellow.
Can't do it. You look like a great team and all, but
We'll also have to pick a day to do the Pass the Cup draft.
yeah, we will.
That can be after probably the weekend before, like October, whatever.
4th.
That one's passive too, right?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
for the most part, and we
Well,
did have a waiver
Crackle.
system.
Track.
Well, we'll
Oh.
see. I feel like we might try to tweak that this year a little bit, but because there were a
Maybe
couple
end of
issues.
September we can do that.
Yeah.
Actually, well, that weekend. Yeah, I don't know. We'll figure it out. We have to do that.
We will. Speaking of the Predators, Philip Tomasino re-signs for them. He's another young guy to look out for. I think that's fine. I think that was just a 1-year deal. Let me see. I believe it was. Yeah. So that's good. We also had Arthur Kaliev just signed today. I think the same deal. So that's it for the recent signings. But yeah, good. Another RFA bites the dust. So we don't have too many left. Looks like we have about 20 RFAs total heading into training camps and getting close to preseason. We've covered most of them already. I think the Perfetti deal will get done at some point. Dawson Mercer, we've talked about him a little bit as well. So not too many like super big names, obviously, besides Swayman, who we've touched on ad nauseum. But
I also heard a rumor that the Avs are going to trade for him.
I
That
saw
came out today too.
I saw like some. I didn't even click the
Backed
article.
up at all. Someone probably was like, "Yeah, I'll trade for him," and then it's like, okay.
Like,
Hold
yeah,
on
you can
with
just throw that out there and see if it sticks.
Yeah.
If I just make enough buzz about it, Chris McFarland will start calling Don Sweeney, and things will start. No. I'll quickly touch on we've already kind of touched on a lot of the PTOs lately, but Mike Hoffman does sign a PTO with Edmonton. Think that could work out. They do seem to like their reclamation projects and their rejects more or less. So he's I think he signed a PTO last season too to start the season as well. So this is likely his last go around, but we'll see if there's any gas left in the tank.
What's a PTO?
It's a professional tryout, so you don't immediately sign with the team. They have you try out, and then if they like you enough, professionally, then they can offer you a contract. So oftentimes it'll be for these veteran guys who are trying to get their last couple contracts, or for rookies that haven't really completely panned out. But maybe a couple of teams take a chance on them. And some goalies, too. Jonathan Gillies, speaking of goalies, signed a PTO with the Leafs. So he played a little bit for the Blue Jackets. He is 30 years of age. But, their goalie situation is a little undetermined right now. So that's probably fine. And Keith Kincaid, speaking of goalies, signs a PTO with the Islanders. So he's bounced around a bit, and if he does sign with them, he'll have played for the Devils, the Rangers, and the Islanders. So
I don't want to move far.
the signed contracts. Yeah, it's like this area is good. Obviously,
MSG lineup.
Yeah, exactly. Then just get him on Buffalo at some point, and you collected them all. No, Philly's not on the MSG network. I don't think
No,
they're on
no.
something else.
Philadelphia.
Yeah, they're pretty close, but no. But yeah, that would be fun.
New Jersey's lucky we let him in.
Yeah, is that right? I think that's it though. Oh, Dylan Ferguson also, just because we've touched on him a little bit, he signed a PTO with Vancouver, who also has some question marks with when Demko is going to return. Like it does look a little light in net right now without him, because they've got Shilovs, who had like a decent playoff run in those limited games, and then who else did they pick up? They picked up somebody else.
What I heard about Demko is that like he's kind of working through an injury, but it's something that's like never gonna be 100%. It's like just something he's had to like learn to play through.
That's not good news. I don't think though.
Yeah, but it's something that like
Patera as well, another former
he
Golden
will
Knight.
be able to play. It's just a question of like how well he can perform.
Yeah, like will he be able to? Like that's the tough thing, especially with like still a younger guy. Like the potential. You've seen how good he can be when he is healthy, and so you want to bet on him like making a bounce back. But if it doesn't work, it's like it really impacts your team. So obviously for Vancouver's sake, hopefully, speedy recovery and he is able to bounce back to near or at 100%. But we'll have to wait and see and figure out how they perform in the first couple of months, potentially without him. Where yeah, again they're pretty untested in that.
Mm-hmm. Apparently, 2 days ago, Rick Tocchet said there's no targeting Thatcher Demko's return after mysterious injury.
Yeah, that's when they're uncertain. That's never good, because you don't know exactly what it is. So you're theorizing a little bit. I know we've had that with Landeskog a lot lately too.
Yeah.
It keeps like he's been out for 2 seasons now.
It was like he's never coming back. It's like, well, now he might come back this year. So.
Yeah, like even, I remember in the playoffs, there were still like, oh, he might be able to suit up for playoffs. Oh, he might, and then it never happened, unfortunately. And now I still haven't heard anything as far as like he's definitely returning for the regular season this year. Have you?
Mm-hmm. No. Do you remember he had that announcement? He's like, oh, he has an announcement. And he's like, I am not retiring.
Yeah, I do remember
He
that.
like called a press conference to say that he was not. Like, my announcement is I'm not doing something.
Okay. Thanks for letting us know, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was bothering him a lot, and media was probably all over it.
Mm-hmm.
Nichushkin also is apparently going to be joining the team in, I think, November is what they said. So, definitely the last go-around for him with his recent struggles. Hopefully he, stays focused on hockey and is able to come back in a major way, because he's been super successful with the Avalanche and in Dallas as well, when he's been able to stay straight. So yeah, hopefully good season for him and for those guys, but time will tell. We got some retirements as well. I don't know if you guys saw all these, but a couple goalies. Alex Stalock, who's kind of like perennial backup, more or less. He had a couple brief stints at probably a head role. I think maybe when he was with Chicago. But he had a good 10, 15-year career, which, especially for a backup, to consistently get contracts is pretty impressive. Kind of a similar story with Antti Ranta, who also retired.
Been around forever.
Yeah. So
he was like the Shark starter for a bit.
Yeah, he was. I do remember that. And he was with Arizona for a little bit, and then he spent the last couple seasons with Carolina and had some health issues. So I think it was kind of pushing his limits a little bit.
Yeah, a lot of younger guys here, because he's only 35, and then Tyler Ennis is also retiring, is 34.
Mm-hmm.
Also, kind of makes me feel old because all
Former
these players
Saber.
that I've watched for a while, I'm like, oh, they're retiring already. That's crazy.
Like, oh God, what's happening? It's a new
It's
era.
only a few years away.
Yeah.
Yeah, 34. Ew, old. And like, yeah, we're gonna be older than all the NHL players in the league eventually.
Oh. Oh. Whoa,
Yeah,
Dean.
people be calling these guys old, and I'm like, wait, we're older than them.
It's like, wait a minute. We're dust.
Yeah.
We're old. We're not
Pretty
there
old
yet.
podcast.
Welcome to the Bread Loves Hockey, but We're Old podcast. It's just like a really slower version of this podcast. Just like,
I think people would like that.
you think so?
They
Yeah,
keep up.
that's been the biggest complaint is that the episodes are not long enough. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Chris
Chris
retired.
Weidman as well. Yeah.
But at first I was trying to remember, but I was thinking of Dennis Weidman, who was the guy that cross-checked the ref in the back.
Oh,
There's another thing that you don't remember. He got
I don't
mad at
remember
the
that.
call. He literally he got suspended a long time for that.
Yeah.
Like he was saying that he was concussed or something and thought it was a player, and who knows if you want to believe that or not. But you should look up that video.
Oh my
But I think he's been
goodness.
long since retired.
Is he related to Chris? Do you know?
I don't think so. He retired in 2017.
Oh, okay. So that was like, yeah, pretty much a little bit
He was on the Bruins for a little bit too.
after I started watching. Oh, really?
Yeah.
But yeah, Chris Weidman retires. He's kind of been dealing with some back issues. He hasn't played like a ton in the league, but yeah, it's still a bummer to have to retire because of long-term injuries.
Mhm. Yeah, I'll put the video in here for your viewing pleasure.
Should I watch it now?
If you want, you can. I mean, it's only the first 10 seconds will get you what you need.
Good.
Oh, what? When was this? Let me look. 8 years
Got a
ago.
Twisted
So
Tea ad.
2016.
I got premium. Oh shoot!
You definitely see him holding his head.
That's a concussion.
Yeah.
That's what we saw last Thursday.
I'm-
What did he just do?
Oh, I was thinking of a Bills player, not a Dolphins player. That's why I was like, I don't remember any of our guys going down. But yes, that was tough. Tough for Tua. Another concussion. Like,
He said he's not retiring though.
feel for him.
No, he's got it. They can't let him play. He's gonna die out there or something.
His brain's gonna melt. Yeah, I saw he's consulting with neurologists over the next few weeks while he's on IR. But I seriously hope that they recommend strongly that he retires. Like it's terrible, but you got to think about the rest of your life. Obviously, it's his decision or whatever. Like I'm not gonna. What can I do? But my opinion, if it matters.
Two of the concussions, at least, he had like the fencing response or whatever. Like his arms go up.
Yeah, and then he does he was throwing gang signs and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, it's no good. Never want to see stuff like that. It hasn't been crazy bad for injuries this year, but there have been some big ones for football already, and still a couple for the NHL as well. I think I just saw Minchikov for the Ducks. Another Ducks player is going to be out for a little bit. Like they're already banged up.
And Darlene.
Not looking good. Yeah, we can transition into our Sandroni topics here. About the Sabres camp.
Yeah. First day of practice, Darlene is hurt. The injury occurred while he was passing a puck.
Not what you want to hear.
That's how we start seasons around here in Buffalo. And Tage Thompson took a big hit too, but he appears to be okay.
Yeah, he's
Krebs
good.
knocked him down. He was kind of laboring his way to the bench, but I think he's all right. But Darlene, the team hasn't released anything about
Yeah,
that. That's
those
pretty
like
concerning,
those
seeing how he's our
non-contact
best player.
those non-contact injuries are always scary because like if you just tweak
Yeah.
something, like if you're just passing a puck, it's like you didn't get hit or anything. It's just something just goes the wrong
And they could
way.
often be the worst too.
Yeah.
Like my brother, he played lacrosse in college, but he had a non-contact. He was doing a roll dodge and tore his ACL. There was no
Hmm.
contact involved, and
Yeah, same with like football. You see receivers like make
yeah,
a cut on a route and just go down. You're like,
yeah.
Yeah, no, that's always terrible. Um, so yeah, not a good start as far as that's concerned.
Hmm.
Um, and I know there were rumors about Darlene being named the captain of the team, which
Yeah.
I think would probably make sense. They don't have a ton of veteran guys left, at least ones that have been around. Like now that Gergensons and Skinner are gone, I do think he's probably one of the best
Hmm.
candidates if they're gonna name one.
Yeah, either they're gonna name one or kind of see how the season plays out. But yeah, either way, Dowling's gonna get it because he's the biggest leader out there. He was like organizing players to come work out together in the summer, and like in the season, he's the one that's always the first out there to stand up for a teammate and that kind of stuff. So he's really the leader that's out there, and they haven't made it official yet, but he's going to be it. They're not going to run three alternates this year, so they already said that. So they're going to pick someone to
That
be
makes
the
sense.
captain. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's
Hmm.
about time. I mean, obviously they had Okposo last season, so
Yeah.
he was a good pick, but they don't
He
have
was
him,
for
so
sure because he was a fourth liner, but he was like the locker room guy, the
and
leader
Nick
on the
Foligno
team
type.
and the
Yeah.
veteran.
exactly
I
Nick
think he,
Foligno or Boone Jenner
yeah.
as well now in Columbus. I think is a similar
I think
story.
Okposo might have played the most games as a Saber out of anyone.
That sounds right.
At least he's in the top three or so, if not
Probably.
the most. Yeah.
Yeah, and he spent some time with the Islanders too, so he's been around for a while. I don't
Mhm.
know if uh, there was anything official on if he was going to retire, or did he end up signing somewhere? I don't think he did. I think he's still a free agent. Um, Let me take a look. Looks like he is unsigned. Did you guys see what the Flames and the Blue Jackets are doing with as far as honoring Johnny and Matthew Gaudreau this year? I know the Flames, they had like a huge memorial at the arena, and so they had a little post about what they're gonna be doing with everything that was left and donated. So they had a little thing, they took a bunch of photos of all the chalk messages and signs and things like that, and they're gonna send those to the Gaudreau family. They had a bunch of hockey sticks, which are gonna turn into benches. They're gonna make donations to a local food bank for Skittles being left, because I know that was Goudreau, one of Goudreau's favorite foods, along with the purple sports drink as well. Had a bunch of toys donated, jerseys, which are gonna turn into blankets and stuff like that. So that's really good. Good to see that everything that was donated is gonna be reused in some way, or a contribution will be made to that effect. So that's really good.
That's
And
awesome.
the Blue Jackets are gonna have patches, like a patch with Johnny and Matthew's number on it, and they're gonna have a stall in the locker room just for him. That they're always gonna be set up, even though obviously he won't be there. So that's really good. I think they're gonna have ways of honoring them during their first preseason and regular season games. So, yeah, it'll be a touching start to the season for sure for those organizations. But yeah, I think really good on both franchises for doing right by those players and the fans.
Yeah, it's good to see. Yeah, it's definitely very tragic, but I mean, a lot of these teams do pretty well. It's terrible circumstances, but they do pretty well honoring their fellow team members if there's something like this, and you never want to think of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No doubt. And I mean, yeah, a lot of hockey players have said this, especially about the recent, passing, was like that the hockey community is really tight knit. And so, like, a lot of these guys know each other and have been personally affected. A lot of former teammates of Johnny have spoken out during the media days about the impact for this season. Sean Monahan and Matthew Tkachuk and other players, and it's still just so tough. But we're just gotta keep trying to get through the season, and hopefully as time passes, it'll get easier for a lot of these friends and family members and organization members, all that stuff. So yeah, never fun news to share, but I think best possible outcome right now after the fact, I think.
And like you said, I mean, the franchises have been handling it really well. So.
Yeah. In some other more fun news, the Capitals did announce on Ovi's birthday that they are going to be bringing back basically what was their reverse retro 2.0 design, which was that black jersey with the screaming eagle and the Capitals word mark. It's going to be obviously the Fanatics version. It won't have the reverse retro branding, but they will have that third jersey. They'll be wearing it 6 times to honor their 50th anniversary. So it's, basically a third. And I did see they had a mock-up of the one for Ovi with the captain's patch, and because of all the ads that they have on there and the 50th anniversary patch, it's like basically in the center, and it just kind of bothers me, but
yeah, it's a little weird.
Oh well. Yeah, it's so they don't maybe they don't have a 50th anniversary patch, but they do have the Caesars Sportsbook advertisement, and then like the way that the logo is, it kind of takes up that extra space on the other side, so yeah, it's not great. But I do really like the jersey coming back. I think a lot of people would love if they just switched to that, at least that logo, full time. Maybe not necessarily the black, but I saw some suggestion bring back the blue and copper ones that they had in that design, and then have a white version, and then the red one as a third, so you have red, white, and blue, which, like, they've already done that with the previous third jersey that they had, but I think that would work really well as a rebrand.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised in like a year or two if they fully switch to those, because I think they're definitely the franchise that needs to get a facelift the most. Jay Fresh actually had a recent survey about that, and he was saying I think every year he does a home jersey poll, and so they were ranked 32nd on that list. No surprise there. I'm in total agreement. Like, it's, especially with the striping from that Reebok era. I know we've mentioned that before, how outdated it looks compared to all the other teams. And the logo is nothing to write home about, that word mark logo. Ugh. Never been a fan. Even though I do have one of the jerseys, I have an Ovi, but I think it was pretty cheap. So I'm like, yeah, I still kind of have to get one because he's worn that for pretty much his whole career.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was fun looking at the old pictures of him during his rookie year in 2005, wearing like the same black and copper it was like the dome on front instead of the eagle, but still fun seeing the parallels, and we're knowing how close we are to the end of the career for OV, even though we probably got a couple more seasons out of him.
He's not quitting until he gets the goal record.
Yeah, 42 goals is the number to beat. So
Happen in 2 years.
do you guys? Yeah, you guys don't think this year? I would assume he would reach that
He
milestone.
scored 42 2 years ago.
I'd give it a 5% chance.
I don't think it's crazy to suggest it. I mean, he only had like 20 something goals this year, but
That really
still,
slow start.
yeah. Especially if he really thinks that he can do it, and like also with the 50th anniversary, I could see that like kind of playing a fact. Like, it's like a mental thing. But he is still aging and slow, so there's that. But the talent level is obviously still there, and I'm sure he still wants to be a playoff team, just like last year.
That would be the biggest record breaking that we would witness in hockey.
I think so.
Yes.
Until Austin Matthews does it again in like 10 years or something. But yeah, that would be really cool for me as a fan. Entering a new era. And I think that would be a much harder trivia question for people who don't know anything about hockey to answer.
Right. Yeah,
Like, you won't. Like, I don't know any hockey players. Oh, wait. Gretzky, I think? Yeah.
It's also going to be like some guy like running trivia will be like, sorry, you're wrong. Like, I don't know who this Alex Ovechkin guy is. Like, in a couple years, when it's like, oh, no, you got to update your, like, 20-year-old trivia question.
Yeah, like, you gotta actually do your research every time you ask this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. But that's fun. Should be at least reason to watch the Capitals again this year, with the 50th anniversary festivities and the push for the record. I guess we kind of... Did you have anything else, Sandroni? I think you have a couple other notes here on the Sabres, but if you wanted to briefly touch on them, we can.
Yeah, well, they're we got to see some of their lineups that they're going to be starting at least preseason with, and they said, I think Peterka's up to the first line, and they put Benson into the second line, and Benson's like everyone. He's like the fan favorite from last year. Everyone loves seeing him out there. He had a great season, and Peterka was on. They put Benson in Peterka's spot on that second line. Was probably the most productive line. So we'll see whether Peterka gets moved back down. Maybe Benson goes up to play with Thompson. He played with Thompson for a few games during last year, so there's still some shuffling around to do.
There's always going to be that, yeah.
Yeah. And apparently, so the first practice was today, of training camp, and the coach was Lindy Ruff was pushing them pretty hard in it, harder than typical. So that was kind of the news out of it, and everyone's getting excited. It's that time of year to be excited about the Sabres.
Mm-hmm.
If you can be.
It's a short window.
Time of year to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the first preseason game is Saturday. It's against the Penguins, so we're getting started up real quick here.
Too bad they're in Pittsburgh, though. Otherwise, we'd be able to go to the game, maybe.
I thought they're in Buffalo, I heard.
Oh, are they?
Yes.
Brand's like, ooh.
Well, I don't know. We'll see. I don't know what we got.
What are you going to
on,
Buffalo for? Just visit Bree's family?
No, I'm going to the Bills game on Monday with Sandroni.
Oh, nice.
Dude's weekend.
Dude's weekend. Yes, I'm very looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So it should be fun.
And, yeah, I'm looking forward to it too.
We'll see if are they playing in Buffalo? I really thought they weren't, because I thought I had looked.
I heard today that they're playing in Buffalo, but I didn't
look
look.
at that.
Yeah.
Excellent.
It'll be Crosby's first game under his new contract.
Which hasn't changed very much, but it does
Yeah.
push him to 40, which we hadn't touched on. I know, like, he had previously mentioned that he probably wouldn't play after 40, but he's a little more open to it now, which, like, he's still producing extremely well, so yeah, it would be cool. I don't know. Do you think he'll actually play? I don't know how they really
Yeah.
manage those in the preseason. Like, sometimes they do split squad, too, but I don't
I'm
think
not
they're
sure.
doing that this
The
time.
reporter I was listening to said that he thought they were going to be NHL lineups, like the pros are in there, not like their practice squad people. The Amerks bringing them up or anything.
Hey, I'll take that,
So
especially at the prices that preseason games are compared to regular season.
yeah.
Like,
Mm.
if you don't really
I
like,
could probably
I don't
get
care.
our tickets too, if you really wanted them. Although it'd be like a bit of logistical trouble because they're paper tickets.
Oh yeah. Well, no,
Oh,
we don't have to. I mean, I don't even know if we're gonna
yeah,
go, but
yeah. If you're
that's fine.
driving in that day too, so but
Yeah.
it'll be fun. That'll be in Buffalo, so the vibe will be in the air until they
Mm-hmm.
lose, and then it'll be back to where it was.
Yeah, you're right. Hey, at least the Bills
Looking
are still
forward to
undefeated.
football.
Me too. I
Yeah.
I haven't seen the Bills lose yet, so I'm hoping that streak continues.
Yeah. It should be a good one. Jacksonville hasn't won a game yet, I don't think.
Not yet. They
And
choked against Miami. They should have beaten them. Oh, I was like, really? What are you doing? Now I'm not as concerned, obviously, with the Tua news, but like, oh.
yeah.
And Dean doesn't want to talk about the Giants.
Imagine losing 2 games, your first 2 games. That'd be crazy.
That would be crazy.
Last game they lost to a kicker. He got all their points.
Yeah, imagine scoring 3 touchdowns, allowing none, and losing in regulation.
Yeah.
First time that's ever happened in the league's history. Just so you know.
Pittsburgh win by 7 or something?
I
Or
don't
what?
remember what the final
wasn't-
score was.
It wasn't Pittsburgh. I
Oh
can't
wait,
remember. Can't remember the team they
Pittsburgh
played.
won a game without scoring a touchdown.
That was
either.
against the Falcons.
That
Yeah,
was against the Falcons.
Boswell scored 6
The
field
Giants
goals.
kicker got hurt
Good.
on the opening kickoff.
Oh
but,
yeah,
they already,
Gano.
they already knew during the week he was like kind of iffy. So I don't know why they didn't have like a backup kicker in place. They had their punter kick the first PAT, which he shanked. Then after that, they're like, all right, we're going for it on 4th down every time. And then they went for 2-point conversions after their touchdowns, which they didn't convert on either of those. So that's why they got 18 points, so 3 touchdowns. And then, Washington, who they played. 3,
Yeah.
6, 9, 12, 15, 18.
I picked up
It was
the
18.
Washington defense on waivers.
Chip, you got the kicker.
Yeah,
The
should
kicker got
have.
like 20 fantasy points.
I should have picked. Yeah.
Actually, no, more. Well, yeah, probably at least that much.
Depends
My
on the
team
yardage.
imploded.
Yeah.
We only scored 60.
And
Ooh.
my fantasy team,
It was
top
rough.
4 picks got injured that game too, so it was that week.
Oh yeah.
That's fun.
That's
Yeah, I
too
put
bad.
I
Jake
still
Cole,
don't
who's
think
out
I have a bad team,
6 to 8 weeks.
but they just like no one scored.
My team's undefeated so
Yeah.
far, so I'm pleasantly surprised. I'm feeling good about going into week 3. I have nobody currently that's injured, which is very good. I saw somebody posted a team that they had that legitimately every starter they had was injured. I'm like, well, that's you can't recover from that.
I lost.
What are the odds?
0.3.
Oh, really? 0.3? I hate
Again, my
that.
running back, I was watching the game, got
That's not
hurt, and I was like, I just need 3 yards, just 3 yards, and he got hurt.
Oh, gosh.
And in the last drive, they didn't throw. I just needed my other receiver to catch a ball, and they didn't throw it to him on that drive. So I was like, well, right.
That's so frustrating. I hate it.
Yeah.
But when you're having fun, like when you're winning, you're like, yeah, I love fantasy. Oh, what?
Yeah, I had like a 96% chance to win.
Yeah, you start to drastically see it drop and shift the other way, and you're like, oh, God, not again.
Yeah, it's so
I don't
unpredictable.
even want to watch football anymore.
Projections, like the projected score instead of the probability, because I feel like that's kind of new, at least since the last time I played them. Like it jumps so much
Mm-hmm.
back and forth.
It does. Yeah, you can't always trust it as much as you'd like. But we'll keep reporting on how we're not in the same league. None of us are, but it'll be fun. I haven't really talked about doing fantasy hockey. I still don't think I'm going to, but I don't know. Maybe we'll do it. I don't know. It seems like with the amount of things that we already do with the hat tricks and the Pass the Cup, might be a lot for this group to keep
That
track of.
stuff's more interesting, even to me. Like, rather than the fantasy hockey.
I just don't like it.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't think it's
Yeah.
as exciting.
It's really just making sure you set your
Mm.
lineups every day.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like the draft is fun because you're like, oh, like I'm thinking about the potential of my team and all that. But after that, you're like, well, set the lineups and have fun.
Mm.
You're not gonna watch all of those games compared to football.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little different. Maybe if they do another Frozen Frenzy this year, they do have at least one game where they have all 16 teams are playing. But I don't know if they've announced if they're going to bring that back or not. I would hope they try it again.
That's kind of fun.
But maybe it's tough when Vegas starts their game at 11 p.m. I'm like, oh my god.
You gotta do it on the weekend and just start at like noon.
Yeah, because they did it on Tuesday, didn't they?
Yeah, it was like some weeknight.
I'm like, oh.
I remember during the COVID bubble when they had all those playoff games on the weekend, and I was like, that was like the best day ever.
Yeah, I remember watching the Tampa game that was like the Tampa versus who was it, Columbus game that went into 5 overtimes, and it started at like 2 p.m. and it went to like, I don't know, 8.
But that wasn't in the bubble, was it?
Yeah, it was in the bubble.
Oh, well, then I'm thinking because, well, I guess that wasn't the same day. I mean, I don't know if that was the same year. I'm trying to remember. But, cause yeah, I'm thinking of the first, I think it was like a Saturday, and they had all these games back to back. I think it was like the first day they restarted after the COVID pause.
Oh, so the 2020-2021 season.
Probably.
Because the 1920 was the bubble in Toronto and Edmonton, and then the other one was like the 4 different divisions.
Yeah, I don't remember.
That might have been it.
It was a good time though.
Whenever it was.
Hockey games back to back on a weekend.
Yeah, that is nice.
Reminds you of football.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
7 hours of commercial-free hockey, brought to you by Frozen Frenzy. Maybe someday.
What else we got? London and Oshawa will host a 2-game rivalry series between the CHL and USA Hockey's National Team Development Program. The WHL, OHL, QMJHL will combine players in a showdown of top first-year NHL draft-eligible prospects versus NTDP. The CHL USA Prospects Challenge will be held November 26th and 27th. So it's basically the best Canadian prospects versus the best U.S. prospects.
Yeah, and that's that challenge that we had like talked about, and it was rumored to be sometime in November, so that those are the dates kind of confirming that.
So it's like kind of major junior versus, I don't know if the national team, like the U.S. national team, is basically like players that'll go on to play D1 college or how that works, but it's basically prospect U.S. versus Canada. Yeah,
I've never really learned about the organizational stuff as far as the national development program in the U.S., like how that functions.
I mean, I know WHL, OHL, QMJHL are all Canadian.
Yep. Yeah, they're all just their own little leagues. But I don't know how.
Do they get much time to like practice together? I mean, there's got to be like not a ton of you can do with coaching wise.
Right. It's the same with like all of them when they do the tournaments, like even the NHL ones where they get like the best players from every country, or when they did like the Team North America or whatever, the World Cup of Hockey. It's like, yeah, you get like a week and you have the best coaches or whatever, but like, yeah.
Even like the rookie teams, like these people don't play together.
Mm-hmm.
it's not
being able to adapt to no matter who's on your line.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see how the Four Nations face-off, of course, goes this year. Well, this season it'll be in February in lieu of the normal All-Star weekend, so be something to look forward to as we get closer. I know we already know who the head coaches and the GMs and everything are, but I haven't remembered them. I'm like, I'll deal with it when we get closer.
Yeah.
Like,
It's not.
whatever.
It doesn't make a big difference.
No, it doesn't. But yeah, that'll be fun. And I'm wearing a Nylander jersey because sounds like he's gonna be starting the season at center instead of on the wing, according to Coach Craig Berube. So that'll be interesting to see how he runs that. I mean, obviously they'll have Matthews still on the first line, and then see how things go with Tavares not having the same responsibilities at center as he will, like, because obviously his game's declining a little bit, and he is a pending UFA. So we'll see how that works out, but it's fun to try.
Didn't they have this last year too in the preseason where he was playing center, or was it Marner?
They might. I think they were moving Marner around a little bit.
Maybe I think it might have been Marner, but it was like I wonder if it'll be similar to that where it's like Nylander. Well, I guess if they already confirmed this whole start at center, but maybe they try him in the preseason. And they're like maybe they'll do a few games and switch him. Like we'll see, or maybe he'll be fine. I don't know. But
I don't know like how he is at
remember,
face-offs.
I think it was Marner last year where they did a couple games preseason. Like,
Like, yeah, no. But that's the time. Yeah, that's the time to experiment when you have that opportunity, and it won't cost you anything if you lose. So, yeah, training camp and preseason is a good time to do that. Maybe even the first couple regular season games. Usually, you're still trying to figure everything out.
Same, Brendan.
Yeah, they do. I'm just saying that's what happens. Like, I don't necessarily agree with it, but you don't always know what you're doing, especially if you're like first time head coach with this organization. You're like, I want to try a couple things, and even if it doesn't work out right away, we're gonna at least get some info, and hopefully that'll help us for the rest of the season. So, week one weirdness we call it in football, and I feel like it applies a little bit in the NHL too. I bounced around a little bit, but I'll quickly touch on this and with the Utah, and then we'll get into the preview with the Leafs. But it sounds like there's a clear consensus on who the fans want, or what the nickname the fans want, which I'm pretty sure the rumor is like Yeti, and I think Clayton Keller had come out and he was like, sounds like Yeti, but I don't know for sure. It's like, okay. Probably wasn't supposed to say that, but apparently, according to this this article, Ryan Smith has come out and said, it's been very clear to us what our fans would like us to be called. Now it's a matter of trying to explore exhaustively all avenues to try and deliver that. You can imagine it's a complicated process from a legal, trademarking, and intellectual property perspective. So there might potentially be some legal hang-ups that could prevent them from going down the Yeti route. I don't know what those are, like what other trademarks or maybe like smaller sports teams have like for Yeti, but I could see potentially there being an issue there. I know when Bill Foley was trying to get the Vegas team name sorted out, he wanted them to be called the Black Knights because he went to what the heck is it? West Point, I think they're the Black Knights, and but yeah, they put the kibosh on that. So then he was able to get permission from St. Rose and Clarkson and all those other teams for the Golden Knights name. So we'll see if anything comes up with that. I know other names are still kind of popular. Mammoth was thrown out there. Outlaws, I think, is also popular. So who knows? But I do think they will find a way to make it Yeti, because I feel like the kids especially have been like very vocal about that. So maybe that factors in.
Yeah, if it's the
Got to
fan
stick
favorite,
with
it
the.
makes sense to do it.
Yeah.
You got to stick with the cryptozoology of the Kraken for the last team.
Yeah, it's apparently it's the new trend.
Yeah.
I think they gotta nail the logo though. Like if I'm unimpressed with the logo, if they do go well with anything, I think I'll be disappointed. But
If they went with that one that was the fan made like Yeti in the cliff in the Utah,
oh, that would be really cool if they did something similar to that,
like, do you not want it to be more like front and center as the Yeti? Like that's more like um whatever it's
like a
called, like
secondary
the
logo.
liminal space or whatever.
Yeah, no, you're right. But I don't know. I mean, personally,
Liminal
I kind
space,
of like those
however.
things, and it's not as like cartoony. Because I think definitely with Yeti, you could get it where it really feels like a minor league sort of logo, or like yeah, a Canadian
Mhm.
team, a Canadian junior team sort of thing. But I think if you do something a little more understated, it could look a little bit more professional.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, again, it's all concepts. We don't have anything official from the team. We don't have any official renderings or anything like that.
Probably won't until next off season.
Yeah, so we'll be thinking about it for a while. With lots of time to consider.
They're going to be like that light blue, just like all the other teams, right? I think we've got a lot of that color.
Oh,
Look
I
up.
know. I've
Probably
been
find a
vocal about it.
Yeti
Yeah.
baseball team that was a like a youth team, and they had a light blue color. So
Did they really? Oh my
yep.
goodness. Maybe they'll run into an issue then.
Yeah, this youth baseball team, they just our
They're
name.
going to protest.
They trademarked it, so yeah. That's probably not the main hiccup there.
I forgot to mention that I liked that you named last episode 64.
Thank you. Thank you, Dean. I kept I was like I had another good name too. I think I still have it. Because I said this at some point, I thought it sounded pretty good for an episode title, The Pronunciation Consultation. Like, oh, I like the ring of that, but you guys asked for it, so I'm like, all right, yeah, we'll go with it. It was kind of the central theme of the episode compared to my random little blurb.
It almost looks like it's an accent. Like, oops, we put a number here on accent, but it's 59, 64. What does it mean?
Yeah, what's
You only know if
happening?
you watch the whole episode.
I've got to
Click to
click.
find out.
Even though we only have like 6 views compared
Yeah,
to
I
like
saw that.
105 on the last one, so who
I
knows?
guess the streak did not continue.
No, I was
Yeah.
like this will be when we really know if it was a steady tick up or if it was a blip.
You guys need a marketing team.
Well,
Work
yeah.
on your outward appearance.
Yeah, we gotta just keep cranking the shorts out.
Yeah.
I had some ideas for some that I was gonna do. Actually, for any of you eagle-eyed viewers, you might have noticed that I hadn't had my red Vegas jersey in the background. You can only partially see it normally, but it was away for the past like 3 or 4 episodes, getting customized, and now you can see the TON in the background of Chandler Stevenson, or not TON, SON, but glad to get that back. And I got my Florida Panthers jersey back with the Cup final patch sewn on. So finally have that after they won back in what was it? Was it late June or early July? I can't remember. Usually it keeps ending later. I think it was June. But yep. So I got that. Probably take a photo. And I got a couple new additions to the background as well. I got 2 mini helmets at the flea market and a little photo of Patrick Waugh, a little frame there. So some cheap pickups and filling out the wall a little bit more. I like seeing the old thumbnails from the first couple episodes compared to now. Quite different.
Yeah.
Let's chat about the Leafs because I feel like have to as hockey media cover the Leafs preseason heading into the season. hot ticket item, and of course they're going to be pushing once again for another deep run. First line here projected as Matthew Nyes, Austin Matthews, and Mitch Marner. That still should be really good. I think Nyes can work great there, and that's going to be one of the best lines still. Marner obviously still being there. Sounds like that's just it. He's not going to get moved or anything. So this will be the last season, more or less, unless they have a deep push. And then Domi, Nylander, and Yarncroak, the projected line there. I mean, I could see that working out pretty well. I think they've got good chemistry that could bounce around, and maybe we see Tavares play on the wing instead of how they have currently centering the third line with Nick Robertson and Bobby McMahon. That would be, I don't know. I don't expect that to be the final one. Seems like a little bit of a age discrepancy there and speed discrepancy a little bit too.
Funny how on the second line they have Nylander centering it, like we talked about, and he's a right wing, and then his two wingers can also play center. But like, nope, Nylander's the center.
Yeah, the one who isn't normally playing center. Yeah, he's the one who wants center.
Fine at center.
Yeah, I think he still has enough speed where he could be fine there. So again, especially with the Leafs, I feel like they toy with things a lot. We'll see how Berube does with that. Maybe he's a little more set in his lineups. But yeah, again, early season, you still never know. And then Holmberg, Kampf, and Reeves rounding out the fourth line, which nothing to write home about. I think Kampf's best in the fourth line role, so that's good, at least utilizing the most out of him. And you're not going to expect too much out of Ryan Reeves. But overall, I don't know about you guys, but I still think that's a pretty solid forward line, or forward core. Like, still should get a pretty decent amount of points.
The third line's like, yeah. I mean, they have Tavares, but like their wingers, I don't have a ton of faith in.
I think Robertson could be really good. He has to stay healthy. I think that's been like why you haven't heard about him as much, or like especially compared to his brother. But he has a lot of upside. It's just he's got to play the games, which is part of the reason why, they didn't sign him to a ton of money. They had the RFA signing rights, so I don't know. It's always tough to tell, but I think he could have a good season. And then on D, we've got Morgan Riley and Chris Tanev. Now that TJ Brody is gone, I don't know. I'm not like in love with it. As far as like defensive capability, I don't think that's like the best that they've had over the last couple of years.
Yeah. Even the second line of McCabe and Liljegren, I'm like, their top four is fine. It's just I don't love it.
Yeah. I do think that's probably I think as of right now it's not as good as their decor from going into last season and in the playoffs. They've got Ekman Larson and Hakanpää listed as the bottom pair, so obviously still question mark kind of about Hakanpää, but he did sign the contract, so I guess he's gonna play. But yeah, that's gonna be again a third line, but that's all it really is. Like, I don't see a lot of upside there, even though Ekman Larson had like a decent season last year with Florida. It's still not really ideal, in my opinion, anyways. And then we've got the goalie tandem is pretty unproven as far as a regular season starter with Joseph Woll and Anthony Stolarz, the two projected goalies there. So Woll, I think he could be good, but he's still pretty young and he has never commanded like a bunch of starts. And then Stolarz has proven to be decent as a backup. He was pretty good in Florida, but again, that's all we've really seen from him. So hopefully that's still the role that he's playing this year. They also have Matt Murray still, which like how much is left in the tank for him. And then we did mention the John Gillies PTO as well. But yeah, I think D and potentially goal is like where these guys could struggle this season, which for a while has been like part of the story. Not so much lately, as it's just been like the forwards having, especially the core four, having the goals dry up in the playoffs, except for Nylander, who seems to do all right. But yeah, that's where the storyline has really been over the last
I think
however long.
That's ready can help if he can be healthy.
Right. I did forget about that.
He hasn't played a ton of games the last few years, but when he did, he was like a point per game player. So.
Yeah, they have some good tantalizing options in the pipeline with some of these other guys that have jumped in before. They've got Connor Timmins as well. On the Easton Cowan still looks promising, and Nick Abruzzese as well. Maybe even Alex Steves. So, yeah, they have the. They have
I've heard
potential.
of Connor Dewar.
Oh yeah, Dewar and Fraser Minton. Those guys are both injured right now. Start the season, but yeah, I think D is where they're probably lacking the most. I think Woll has shown good flashes, but I don't know if he's able to string together like consistent strong starts. So that's another concern of mine. And they weren't really able to afford to bring in anybody on a big deal. Like, what are they paying these guys right now? A little bit more than $3 million for the two goalies. So yeah, when you're not trading Matthew or Marner, it's like, okay, we're gonna do this again. We gotta cut corners somewhere. And I guess goal is where they focused on this year. How do you guys feel?
My preseason bracket made it makes it easy. I think they'll be third in the Atlantic.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like, well, we didn't talk about too many Atlantic teams, but third seems like like bubble team or whatever was the rumor for a lot of
you
these
had them
ones,
second. Did you have them second?
I might have had them second in the Bruins.
You had them second, and the Bruins beating them.
All right, then I have them second.
Now you're not so sure? You think
Just like I said.
You could still change it.
Whatever I wrote down is the right answer.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
We have talked about that your first instinct is the one you should go with versus
second.
Mine.
Good job, Sandroni.
There we go.
Way to pay attention.
Yeah, he's absorbing a lot of the knowledge. He's not.
Oh yeah.
He's not letting everybody know, but he is taking it all in.
I come here to learn things, and those things are the way Dean predicts games.
There we go. Perfect.
I don't know if I have them second. I feel like I'm leaning towards third or maybe even a wild card team. They were pretty close to being a wild card last year, but they just had enough points banked where the Lightning couldn't catch up. But I don't know.
Who do you put ahead of them?
I mean, I think Florida. I don't know. With Boston, like the Swayman thing has me nervous though, and they did lose a couple guys, but they did also add Lynn Holman, Zadorov. So it's like, how much do you weigh that? This is why I haven't made mine yet, because I still haven't. The algorithm hasn't gone through yet. Yeah, I know. I always overanalyze it, and then, well, you've seen how well I've done the last couple of years at predicting. But I think I'll go with third since you didn't apparently.
Okay.
What about you, Sandroni? How are you feeling?
I don't know what I mean. Yeah, I'll go with Dean.
There you go. That's probably the best. And Owen says they will miss the playoffs.
Probably, yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. But it'll be fun to share our preseason brackets when everybody has submitted those. I do think I have to let a couple other people know and show them the spreadsheet because I didn't share it with everybody that has a tab in the document. But yeah, it'll be fun. We're getting a lot closer to hockey in general, just coming back. Preseason is right around the corner, and before you know it, it'll be the Winter Classic and all that good stuff, and Global Series, yada yada.
Mm-hmm.
We just have one more podcast before the start of the season. Maybe two. Well, we'll record the second one, but we'll have to figure that out.
Yeah, that's tough. I feel like, well, I know last year we delayed it where we at least had the first game of the season in like the next episode. So I don't know what we'll do.
We'll figure it out, but we're close.
We're so close, folks. Just hang on a little bit longer. 16 more days.
Through the off season.
And it'll be like 11 days by the time this comes out. So.
Well, it depends what you count as the off season because
12.
By the time you're listening to this, the preseason will have started. So that's basically the season.
There you go. See, you guys are way ahead of us.
You already made it.
Yeah, like a quarter of the battle.
You already know that Buffalo's shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You already watched the Saturday game, and Crosby put up 8 points, and it wasn't a fun time for Sandroni and I.
Sabres had like an own goal or something. Yeah, it'll happen.
It's just a matter of time, right? The belief is long gone. That we have to. It's like Santa. We do have to see it to believe it. I think this time around.
Yeah.
Like last year, a lot of us were seeing the potential after 22-23. Like, yeah, they could finally score. All right, everybody's in. And then they just disappointed everybody last year. And it's like, all right, I'm never believing
maybe it's like
again.
the Bills. Like the Bills did addition by subtraction this year. Getting rid of their stars, and now they got like a high functioning offense and a defense that no one knows their names, but they're crushing it.
Mm-hmm. I'm cool with it if that happened. Like if I'm wrong in predicting the Sabres missing the playoffs, like I think I'll be fine with it because just
it would be
the city
exciting
needs
to
it.
say the least.
Yeah, it really
Especially out
would.
here.
You just can't keep pushing it. You're gonna be getting into Bills territory pretty soon with how long their drought was, their most recent one. So, tough to be a Buffalo sports fan for sure. But you're loyal, very loyal. I think I don't know. I think that's our show.
Yep, that's all I got.
Looking forward to things soon. Things soon.
It
Yeah.
will happen soon. We can guarantee that. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Bye-bye. Hold on. Shit.
Cut.
Yep. I felt that I was like, just let him finish the sentence and then you can go. Shoot.